Okay, I have a deck to share with you today that I am so thrilled to be sharing with you. This has been on my wish list for quite some time, and Miss Nina was so fantastic to trade it for some Lenormand Skype mentoring sessions. I love that she has lots of decks to trade, and I am happy to trade for mentoring time with her. This has been a wonderful thing. But so I'm just literally, but I will say I was messaging Patrick, and I have to say that I have a very Marielle, and then my Soul Oracle deck, the artwork of Susan Seddon-Boley, the goddess and the animal spirits, and then those additional cards that I've added in. It's got that kind of resonance to me. And I was messaging with Patrick, and he thought the same about the animal spirits. He hasn't gotten the goddess one yet, but it's that their artwork is, I feel like in some ways it's really tapping in deep, right? The artwork that they're doing is tapping in at a level that is just hitting the soul. And see, I'm trying to be serious and look at Miss Isabel. So there's just something about this deck. In the decks that are in my possession, I felt that with the Marielle, I felt that with my kind of Susan Seddon-Boley's artwork. Somewhat also to Heindel Tarot, although not as much, or in a different way. But then in this deck, that it almost, I feel just like handling the cards, I feel very emotional. Just like a really deep resonance, but it's different than the Marielle. I was trying to explain it, and it was, the Marielle for me is power, like it's just, whoa, like hits you power, at this kind of amped up level, whereas this is almost the same degree, but deep, like it's that watery, and I haven't even gone through this closely. I put them in order quickly, but that's just feeling the deck and the images that I've seen, and then just having in my possession, that's what I feel like. I feel kind of like I could cry easily. Don't worry, I'm not going to cry. But that's that kind of feeling that it's like really the artwork really is tapping into something very deep. And it's quite beautiful. So I'm really excited about that. But let's talk about the guidebook for a minute, because this isn't, huge, obviously. It's 78 pages. It's beautifully bound, but it's really lovely. Let me zoom in here real quick just so we can... and I don't even know, do I think I introduced... See, I'm all discombobulated. But we are talking about the Margarete Petersen Tarot, which is, I believe, a German deck, but this is the English version. And so you can see the full artwork is on the front, and then we have that reflected in the guidebook. I am going to read you a little bit of the guidebook because, and you can skip through to the cards, but this is, this is how I do things, and I actually think this is pretty powerful. But this deck was created specifically, so she is an artist, but she created these paintings for tarot. So this is not her pre-existing artwork that was placed into a tarot deck. This deck was something that she painted across the years for tarot. This intro is by Lucia Francia, which I don't know if she does I think she, yes. Well, no, she does the foreword about the book. Here we go. See, that's what I'm not entirely sure. I think that... Oh, no, she just wrote the foreword. Okay. But she went along with her on this journey to make this. And so she goes through some of the cards... and what she knows about the paintings and where Marguerite was at the time, and where, and again, I should look this up because I don't know if it's Margaret or Marguerite, but you know, it says here, I, on the other hand, was her companion in the creation of her paintings and on the long and winding road that is her life, from which the tarot cards slowly but steadily emerged. Each and every card became so much an integral part of her life that the German magazine Esoterra called her Lady Tarot. For me, Marguerite is and has always been the most important partner in discovering subtle energies and in describing the interplay between energy and matter. Maybe I could not have walked the path leading into magical spaces without her. It was our talking all night that often triggered sudden insights and visions in me. Margaret was the only one to fully understand my feelings and to accompany me on my journey into other realms of being. Marguerite also always inspired me to go deeper and not to be content with simple solutions. When she paints, she is never satisfied with half-truths. She paints over. She scratches the old paint off the canvas. She reconstructs her painting. She observes and immerses herself into it with her doubts. To put it briefly, she experiments. It's just a beautiful foreword that was written by somebody who went with her on this journey of painting all of these cards. She says she was talking about the visible and in the invisible, and about the patterns that allow or prevent us from truly seeing. She said something that I quoted at the beginning of my book and that I want to repeat here. The scars of childhood cover our eyes like a filter. If this filter is very dense, you will always encounter the same kind of situations, see the same images, and remain stuck in your value system. But as you succeed in releasing yourself from the hypnosis of your childhood, and this filter becomes more and more transparent, you can see the scars that others bear more clearly, and you will be able to see and absorb new information. This insight is perhaps the greatest quality in Margaret's life and work and life. Seen in this life, compassion acquires a new dimension. It's just a beautiful, it's a beautiful foreword. And then we have this introduction by Marguerite herself. And I immersed myself into the world of the microcosm more deeply and keenly. I explored body tissues, felt the seams between unknown territories and familiar terrain, traveled through pipes and caverns. I allowed myself to be moved by a rhythm which synchronized me with the internal and the external. For hours, days, and months, I painted tiny dots without plan or aim. I felt fear rising when my ego became part of the formless, when everything turned into a blur, and when a new structure arose out of the dissolution of the old. I observed myself recognizing my own blindness. I learned how tenseness turned into tension. Those tiny dots seemed to be so harmless, so insignificant, even boring, but they had the power to hone my ego until it became almost invisible. It seemed as if a great comb straightened out my thoughts and the internal dialogue and stilled my mind. My ego dissolved. I experienced the mystery and essence of a card through my feelings. My perception became more and more differentiated and richer and nuanced. I learned more and more how to differentiate between creating and allowing the creative force to do its work. I learned to be present and to wait, even in times when the financial pressures became almost unbearable. The creative part of myself didn't care. I knew it was there because I felt a gap between doing, wanting to do, and having to do. More and more, I learned to move like a cat, which dozes for hours and then suddenly jumps up at the slightest sound and is wide awake. And she goes on and on about patterns, and I mean, it's just gorgeous. She says here, my style of painting can be compared to the following Zen meditation. You take a pot full of grain and pour it onto the ground in front of you. Take one grain at a time and put it back into the pot. If you find yourself growing impatient, empty the pot and start again from scratch. In the beginning, you would tell yourself thousands of stories. Your thoughts will wander about and try to attach themselves to something solid. It gets boring, dead boring. All you are doing is putting one grain at a time back into the pot. You You try very hard to focus your thoughts on one grain. Your mind tries to stay calm. You attach individual attributes to each and every grain as you hold it between thumb and index finger. Your mind slips as if on an invisible icy surface. It seems as if your center of gravity has somehow changed. You start to stagger about, spin around, dream, and somehow you land somewhere else. The key to opening all doors is to become sober through the frenzy of introspection. Through tarot, I learned insight into different cultures, religions, and beliefs. She said, I personally like the legend that in the 14th century the tarot was brought from India to Europe by gypsies, the Sinti and Roma. Sometimes I feel like a gypsy myself, traveling outside of all systems. She just talks about how through this whole process, she ends up with, in short, I have lived. I mean, how powerful is that? Like in this whole tarot deck sort of encompasses that process of her living. Like she has lived and she has lived through this. It's just so wonderful. Then she goes into the major arcana, and I love how the major arcana have sort of like a poem that is for each one of them. Oh, it's stunning. And which we'll get to one of those. There are some name changes here, which we'll talk about. The court cards have been changed to Queen, Kings, Prince, and Princesses, which she says is more relatable to people, and I love that process. That's something I really like. Oh wait, no, is it father? No, mother, father, daughter, son. I'm sorry. Because she thinks that that's relatable. They constitute our mandala, our sphere. Even if our family is far away, or if we wish them to be far away, we always carry a part of the family vibration within. So I think that that's beautiful. The family is not everything, but it is part of the fabric from which we are all woven. So that's gorgeous. She goes into then the court cards for the suits. And then she talks about the pip cards. And she goes into the 4 elements, and she explains the 4 elements on a physical level for earth, on a mental level for earth, for each of the thing, and on a relationship level. So how these elements might present themselves if you're looking physical, mental, psychic, or relationship wise. And she goes through that with each of the elements, and then she also goes through each of the numbers. And I just love it when tarot decks do this because it's so important. And then she goes through for each of the minor cards. And there are no pictures, but because they're right here and they're absolutely stunning. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful written, if small, guidebook. So I'm just blown away by it, as you probably can tell. So I know that was a very much longer introduction than most people like to see, but there you have it. So the cardstock is gorgeous. It's thin, which I love, and it has a beautiful matte feel to it. It is not glossy at all, which I think really allows the artwork to, well, I mean, Marielle is glossy. I don't really like the feel of the Marielle or the high gloss. So to me, this is like perfect. I don't foresee myself trimming this because I don't know. I felt the same way with the Marielle, and eventually I'll probably get the Marielle and leave it well, no, I'll probably still trim it, but leave the corners sharp. I don't know. But I had a very hard problems with trimming the Marielle, and I feel like that with this. Like I almost want it to stay large, and it is large. So for example, here's a typical Llewellyn card. It's much, it's oracle-y size. So here is the Wild Wisdom of the Fairy Oracle, and it is an identical size as that. So it's quite a large deck, and the backing I showed already is with the dots that she was talking about, and it's just stunning. The color palette is gorgeous. I just love it. So But obviously the key here is in these stunning cards, images. So here we have the Fool. I'm going to read a couple, just one or two of these little poems, just so you get a feel for it. Now obviously these were translated, so I'm sure that it loses something in the translation depending on how good the translator was. You are young and far away from home, a glittering crack, heaven, sun, and clouds, and foaming waters, the elements at play, blue breath. Risk finding the way to yourself. Engage yourself where chaos begins, where you stand alone and without help, facing life. There you have it. I mean, it's just so stunning, and we have this, you know, and the Fool is quite small in this, right? And you sense the largeness of the world and the bigness of this journey that he or she is going to go out on. I love the feeling of the moon and the sun that's there, but we do have the traditions of you know, kind of standing at the precipice. We look like we have more like a sphinx, or not a sphinx, like an eagle here that has the legs of the lion. What's that called? Griffin? At its side, but it is white, as you see traditionally with the Fool. So we have the images of that stepping off period, so we can find that there. So for the Magician, we have magic. And it says, sun winds are stroking the strings of a sitar. The song of birds, the air is vibrating, pulsating. Through the mask it sounds, I am. Soul glides into body, ever new self-creation, knowing the essence of the elements, fire, earth, air, water, the lively dance of sounds, remembering oneness, audible breath, I am. It's like you're calling yourself into being. You know, the Magician's about having everything you need to manifest. And in this deck, it's like you're manifesting yourself, which is just stunning. Here we have the gorgeous High Priestess. See, we have the moon here. We have the pentacle. We have the crescent moon at the feet. We have the water and the shoreline. Just gorgeous. Isis, moon goddess, guardian of cosmic knowledge, lingering in the temple of eternal change, visions born out of silence, mover of oceans and the red stream, black moon, white moon, deep inhaling, exhaling, ebb and tide, seeing without judging, mother of duality, sometimes creative, she opens the door. I mean, seriously, I know, I can't do this to all of them. I'm going to do the Empress, and I may do some random ones after that, but I want to at least do these first four. Maybe the Emperor too. Mountains surround you where grasses and trees grow, emptiness and fullness, to occupy a space, naked and open, entering a new space, organic reality, a body that understands and speaks many languages. Devotion and creativity are born in the center of the heart, nurturing, nourishing, source of being. See, I mean, how gorgeous. You still get the sense of lush fields. You get almost a, you know, female genitalia feel about the flower, like that wonderful, who's that wonderful artist who paints flowers that are very, you know, kind of female body centric, that are just absolutely stunning. It kind of has that feel to it to me. But definitely creative energy. Something is going to be born here. It's just stunning. And then look, then we have the very boxiness of the Emperor, who is boxing things in. It all begins at home. The armor is being pierced, rigidity loosened, run across the red, the birth of an authentic I, free from the compulsion to eat your own flesh, a power in us that is incorruptible, organizing yourself from seeming chaos, allow everything to order itself around the hub in the center of power. So we have that sense of order being created here. I know, I'm going to stop with that, but it's just gorgeous. Just that poetic addition, explaining the cards. I think is really key. It's something you're really going to want to set with to really get the energy. Look at the Hierophant. It's just gorgeous. Knower of stars, priest and shaman. Oh, I just got a book on Celtic shamanism, and I've been reading The Way of Weird, so I'm definitely feeling the shamanic energies here. Look at that. The Lovers. See, you have this gorgeous energy with the red and the blues, the moon and the sun. You can even see stars in there. Yeah, it's, see the face? Can you see the face here that's between the two of them? And the snake running up between. So again, you get elements of you and I are becoming one. You gently meeting beyond all opposites. I mean, it's just suns. It's just sun. It's just gorgeous. Shedding of an old skin and that becoming of a new joint identity. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Here we have the Chariotess. Chariotess, how would you say that? I think you would say Chariotess, yes. So here we have the black and the white as looks like cats here. But it's about gliding and flowing forward without personal luggage is how the thing ends. Here we have Justice. See, sometimes it's just this like gorgeous, vague imagery, but we can actually see, and I don't know how much you're going to be able to pick it up at home, but we see a hand here. We see another hand holding a scale that is here, or the understanding of a scale that is here. And so we see face here. So the elements of justice are here. And it's using it for Mott in the poem about the goddess of justice weighing the hearts, which we see all the time, the karmic law of cause and effect. She's relentlessly examining the soul. Like, that's just, oh, look at the crone. I mean, seriously. I wonder if I should zoom in a little bit further. I just want you to be able to see this. It's like this crone here. For me, this is what I'm seeing. The crone here is just, in this cavern. Like the Terror of the Hidden Realms, we have the crone about to go into the cavern. And here we see her inside the cavern and moving up to the light. Aging as spiritual journey, the soul listening inward through the ear labyrinth, listening to the voice of the heart. Place of knowledge and wisdom, the old traveler on her way to the point of oneness, where she touches the cosmic whole. Wingless flying straight into the heart, every step is perfect. Look at that. I hope that you can even a fraction see how gorgeous this is. Here we have the Wheel of Life, and I know I have to keep moving. But the Wheel of Life we have here. I love it how it ends with nothing resolved. That goes on this whole thing about shifts and things moving and revolving. And it says, it ends with, you'll find the answer by the river. There's just something to set with that. Look at the faces. There's faces in this revolving. There's peace in the eye of the storm. Look at strength. This has a very tribal feel to it. Again, you kind of feel that shamanistic feel to it. Oh, I just love these poems. Seriously, I just would like to read them all. Here we have Trial for the Hanged Man, and it ends with the word surrendering. We have the very traditional hanged man, but then we very clearly can see that it's an internal struggle. We have the phoenix here. Look at, we have the sun and the moon kind of are what are holding that energy is that force, that pulling force between the two is what's holding him up. It says, a child born of the sun and the moon, and so it hangs head down, the cord uncut, a mighty shaking at the roots. Evolutionary history is being looked at. Fire burns up passions and desire. Water cleanses and heals. Feeling without echo. Answers arise out of the very depth of our being, surrendering. Seriously. Oh, look, there's another face there. I didn't even see that at first. Oh, look at death. Entering the formless, changing of clothes. I mean, how amazing is that wordage? Just think about death as changing clothes. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Ah. Yeah. I'm definitely going to be sitting with this deck and these poems and doing some journaling, which I don't always do. I very rarely ever do, but that's going to have to happen with this one. Look at the mediatrix. So the mediatrix would be temperance, right? And you are fire and water, the cosmic mixer, mediating between personal and super-personal realms. Look I mean, she's just gorgeous. The night and the sun realm, and she's mixing between the two of them. But we still have the traditional imagery there. Oh, that's a gorgeous, gorgeous card. Look at the devil. Look at how confining that feels. Look at how confining that is. Thinking becomes impersonal, mechanical, predictable, beauty misused, separated from yourself. Oh, gorgeous. The Tower. I know. I have to. Look at the star. Look at the star. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Look at the moon. Look at the moon, though. Look at this. We have the traditions, right? Here we have a domesticated dog. We have the wolf. We've got the water. We've got the moon. We've got the two pillars of mercy and severity. Look at the severity. We've got the bound person, the open-eyed person. Yeah. Look at the sun. Truthfully, this is just perfect. I mean, this is the sun. You feel like you're looking into the energy of the sun. You can see vague forms here, two people embracing each other, but mostly you just see the light of the sun. And it's almost like if you were staring at the sun and your eyes just kind of start to morph, and like what you would see around the edges of things, so to speak, is what is popping up. Yeah. Renewal, we have this sharpness of a feather. At the beginning, the person who did the foreword talks about, let's see if I can find it. She says, "Oh, how I love the painting Renewal, which in other tarot decks is called Resurrection or Judgment. It shows a feather, which could also be a sword blade, cutting through the weightless dance of colors. Renewal needs this kind of lightness and clarity. No other card focuses my energy like this one." And then we have the World, which, is stunning. What else do you want me to say? It's the last sign before nothingness, it says. Dancing into the center to the point, the last sign before nothingness. See, it's all centering around the center of this body here. Okay, so here we can see the aces, because I always like to look at the aces. So we have, in the Ace of Coins, we have almost like the vision of a snake that's here, very earthy colors. Cups, we have the lotus on the water, which is gorgeous. We have the flames, Ace of Flames. So it's coins, cups, flames, and feathers for air. And we actually have like a gorgeous peacock feather here. So yeah, I mean, I need to just not even look at the book at this point, right? So let's put these back. I just like to see them all out, and definitely you can see their element, I think, within it, which is something I love to see. So here we have the Ace of Coins. I love this. You have that feeling with a Marseille Two of Coins, as well as even the Thoth Two of Coins. Very much, and look at the footprints here. Oh, how gorgeous is that? The soles of your feet are the part of your body which have direct contact with the earth. In the Tao Te Ching, it is written, a way is created by walking it. Oh, look at that. Yeah. So, I mean, this is definitely, I believe, a deck in which you want to use the guidebook. I don't think it's necessarily going to go with Rider-Waite-Smith, which I'm really not looking for. I really am hoping that that's the case. But you probably still look at, so we're seeing footprints here. Look. So with the 3 of coins, it's entering a new space. So again, it's like stepping into a new space. Look at, you can see that the Om letter here. The number 3 is all about daring to start something new and letting go of the old. So it's going very numerologically. I love that. And she does, again, have a section on the numbers. And so for 3, it's the beginning of something new. This is illustrated by the beautiful quote by Lao Tzu. 1 gives birth to 2, 2 gives birth to 3, and 3 gives birth to the myriad of things. So yeah, she's definitely, which is to me really important. This is how my personal tarot journey moves and shapes, and it's very much centered around the numerological understanding of the cards, of the number, along with the element. And so it's why I'm so drawn to Marseille decks, and I love that she's following that so closely. And then the 4 is about occupying space and stability, and you can see that here. The 5 of coins, this is transition. Yeah, because it says when structure becomes too stagnant, which can happen with the 4s, right? And then it's a time for transition. The blind woman who stays on the track of fear and loss regains her sight. Look at that. The pain of change is a necessary element in regaining your aliveness. 6 of coins, we have the hands and the feet. Giving and taking. Direct your attention to your feet. Feel the exchange with the earth through the soles of your feet. How is your posture, etc., like this. An exchange without blockages is what you're trying to maintain with the 6 of coins. Oh my goodness gracious. 7 of coins, growth and decay. Doing while not doing. Commit to growth. The 8 of coins, mindfulness and cooperation. A single leaf can tell a whole story. It reveals to you the tree it belongs to, the roots of the tree, the nourishment that it gets. It says, whereas the number 4 represents a space defined by its boundaries, the number 8 is ruled by cosmic dimensions. Oh my goodness. Abundance. Talking about meditating on a stone. It's just gorgeous. I can't obviously read it all. It's definitely something, again, this is not based on Rider-Waite-Smith, and I quite love that. So I'm thrilled. Wealth and arrival. I mean, you're going to see the nuances there because there is a lot of that numerological correspondences and the element of correspondence in Rider-Waite-Smith, but this is just kind of taking it at a more... it's got that Roots of Asia tarot kind of feel to it. It's got the Heindel tarot feel to it. It's got the Marielle kind of feel to it. But at a very, like, something, cosmic level. So then we go to the court cards, which again is... she's got those separated out separately in a court card section. And so we have the daughter. I got to keep moving. We have the son. We have the mother. And we have the father. Then we move to the gorgeous cups. And here we have the Ace of Cups. The 2 of Cups, we can see the 2 people, love, romantic encounters, emotional exchanges. We have the 3 of Cups, about sharing and celebrating. We have multiple people here that are celebrating. The Four of Cups, again, we have this boxed in because it's about the number 4, 4 corners, stability, and we can really see that. This is all about recognizing emotions, she talks about, and clarifying, structuring, and then unraveling your emotions, because this is a deck of, or this is a suit about emotions. The Five of Cups is about grieving and letting go. Stop looking and feeling in one direction only. See the flow of the present. Say goodbye to old hurts and feel your grief. Lots of structure here, the square structure here. A wave, pleasure, harmony, and love. Feelings from childhood arise. You can just see like almost like water rising up. The Seven of Cups, illusions and disillusion. So this is about illusion and trying to see what, and look at, you can see almost sketchings of the boat and then more like the physicality of the boat. It's like, what are you seeing? What is real? What is not? Almost cave paintings on the walls. The Eight of Cups, going to the bottom of things. So we can just see like deep in the bottom of the water. See, here's the above the land, and so much is underneath there. And then there's like almost a cavern underneath the land mass here. Wow. Fulfillment and happiness with the pearl. But it comes at what price? It comes at the price of pain and irritation and sorrow, right? The tiny grain of sand is washed into a cell, and it turns into making that pearl. So we have fulfillment and happiness, but we have the acknowledgement that that doesn't come just from joy and happiness. It comes from the healing of hurts. Ten of Cups. Fulfillment is just the ocean, the water that contains all and gives birth to everything. And then we have the gorgeous Daughter of Cups. You can see her shadow in the water. The Son of Cups. The Mother of Cups. And the Father of Cups. Oh, so much. I mean, for such a little book, it gives you so much information. Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Here we have the Ace of Flames. The Two of Flames, about intimacy, alliance, two forces joining. Interesting. Three of Flames, the fire of creativity. Four of Flames, the fire of shaping. Five of Flames, the fire of aggression. 6 is the fire of going beyond your limits and expanding your boundaries. Dance, rhythm, movement, and sexuality. The fire of action for the 7 of Flames. The 8 of Flames is the fire of the mind, honing the mind, concentrating, with that bow and just kind of honing that. The 9 of Flames is the fire of healing and maturing. The 10 of Flames is the fire of cleansing and purifying. Here we have the gorgeous kind of fire dancer of the Daughter of Flames. The Son of Flames. The Mother of Flames, who just seems to be encompassed by flames. And the same thing with the Father of Flames. Ah. And then we have the Ace of Feathers, which would be the air. Mental clarity. Bring the stream of your thoughts to a stop. Yeah, it's about kind of feel the power of the space that lies between a dying and a newly forming thought. Look at the 3 of Feathers or swords. Oh my goodness. Touch and pain. A necessary cut that liberates you from old fears and feelings of guilt. Memories trying to tie you to old patterns of experiencing and thinking. Just as the blood on the feathers is not real but only red paint, repetitive memories of past hurts are also without reality or substance. By cutting and separating, you can touch upon something new. A new destiny and an expansion of your mental capacity. Four of feathers, withdrawal, safety, and rest. Fighting in vain for the five of feathers. Focusing on different modes of thought for the six of feathers. This is focusing inward for the seven of feathers. Interesting. Look at the eight of feathers. This would be the eight of swords. The eyes vision, changing a perspective. The stronger you hold on to the past and the more you copy it again and again, the more distorted and grotesque your perception will become. Recognize shadows and ghosts for what they really are. Forgive yourself and acquire a new perspective. Killing by not acknowledging. This is about feeling the pain of rejection, expulsion, and being abandoned. Go back to the roots of your fears and look closely. Wow. Wow, look at that. Stop the film. The fickle and shadowy thoughts have come to a rest. They have settled on tree branches and come down to earth. You have experienced fear and pain without being destroyed. You have experienced yourself as part of the film and as part of the screen. The choice is yours. You can always leave the realm of your nightmares. Put a stop to old patterns of thought by gaining mental clarity and applying the power of discernment. Wow. Daughter of feathers, son of feathers, kind of that Maori, Samoan kind of feel there. The mother of feathers, look at that, like the all-seeing eye. Look at the birds up here. We got to look at this one because, you know, this is the Queen of Swords. I look inside as well as outside. Wow. And then the father of feathers. Between the arising and dying of thoughts, I enter a place of stillness. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's all I got to say. I mean, seriously, this is just like one of those decks, I think. I will definitely be using this for like my Journey of Grief readings. I think it's going to be amazing for that. It's very large. I have large hands. This is a hard shuffle, but because the cardstock is so thin and gorgeous, it's a hard shuffle. I'm not going to lie. It shuffles like a dream, but if you have very small hands, you probably will need to trim this, which in some ways I think is a bit of a sadness because I don't know. I feel like it needs to be large. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the scope of it is large and it can't be contained in something small. Although even cutting this down and leaving the bottoms, you're still going to have a beautiful large image. So I'll have to look at other people's trimmed. I'm not sure truthfully what I'll do here. It is difficult, and again, like I said, I have pretty big hands. So I don't have big hands, but I do have long hands for a woman, I feel, and it's a handful because it's oracle size, but there's 78 cards. But the cardstock is absolutely stunning. But it's just a handful. Look at that. Holy goodness. I'm not going to do a reading with this because this is something that I'm going to really need to set with. But I just wanted to show you some cards. Just to see them. I mean, they're stunning. You know, it's one of those things. This is one I will return to, you know, and kind of give you an update on it. I will be using this again for healing. It's just a healing deck to me. I mean, you just feel like the whole point of this is spiritual growth and healing, gaining new perspectives, gaining insights. Like this is a deck that I will get a lot of use out of for both myself and for clients, because a lot of what I do is healing work. It's grief healing work, all, you know, that types of thing. And this is a deck that is truthfully, I think, just perfection for that type of thing. So thank you. I know this is probably, you know, not a typical let's flip through the cards kind of thing, and so, you know, may have lost some people there, but you know, it is what it is. This was me experiencing this deck for the first time, and so yeah, thank you for coming along with me, and yeah, this is absolutely stunning. So there we have it. This has been a look at the tarot, the Margarete Petersen tarot, or Marguerite. I need to look that up. Two things. A, look at, I believe my new piece of orchid calcite is just made for, grown for, created for the Margarete Petersen. Bart said how he thought it would be pronounced, but of course it's German, so I'm not going to try to say it in German with a German accent, because then I would just sound silly. So you can see it for yourself. So no disrespect to the person. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that I did try to find the correct usage of her name, and B, yeah, I believe those two shall be together. Actually, I was using this on something else, and it was instant, like, no, that has to go here. So I listen to those kinds of callings between my decks and my stones for sure. So, okay, now I'm really going to go. Bye-bye.